super quick. So it was.
He's
Absolutely.
like, I got all this money. Let's go.
Absolutely nothing was in
Yeah.
writing. And he promised me 2 years. It's my fault. Like the writing was on the wall. Like,
Welcome to the Real Construction Owners Podcast, where we interview real construction owners doing big things in the industry. Today, we have a special guest, a husband and wife, Bob and Emily Hoel of Hoel Roofing. Been in business for quite some time, looking to crush $4 million in business this year. Welcome to the show. How you guys doing?
good. How are you, brother?
Good.
I'm truly blessed, highly favored, living out here in Costa Rica. Curious, I would like to know, before we get into the meat and potato of your business, how did y'all get started in roofing? Give us a story of how this all began.
So I was kind of sick and tired of the 8 to 5, the hourly wage. And I was in environmental consulting, and I just kind of felt like I fell into that, and I wanted more purpose. I wanted something else more in life. And we're huge Dave Ramsey believers. We started his program as soon as we got married. We've been married just a little over 11 years. And our goal, and poor thing, she agreed to this when we got married, to be a stay-at-home mom, and now she's help run the business. But it was to the point that I was looking for a straight commission job, that if I worked my tail off, my family would benefit from that. And I answered an ad on Craigslist, and I got into roofing sales, because at that time, looking for straight commission sales jobs, it was either life insurance or, there was 100 to 1 of, and I couldn't sell that stuff. So that's how I got into it. And I learned real quick that it was a business that I felt that I wanted to do more in. And we're out in a rural area in Indiana, and honestly, the big companies would always complain when they had to come out here and put a roof on. And I'm like, their money spends the same way as everybody else's. And it just got to the point that I'm one of them that if I say I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it. So it was one of them. That's kind of how we got started there. So.
Nice. And Emily, as far as like roles go, because my wife's my business partner as well. As far as roles go, what would you say is your role, and what would you say is his role?
Mine is production, getting stuff scheduled, ordering material, getting all that stuff rolling. His role is overseeing kind of everything, and especially the sales guys, and helping them out on jobs if they help bid and stuff. But just his role is overseeing most everything in general.
It sounds like you guys have a pretty cool culture. We were talking before we got started. What are some things that y'all are doing to empower or make your team know that you care? Something about like kayaking and baby party. Talk to us about that.
Just taking the time out of our schedule to set things up, to do stuff, just not talk about business, do stuff fun so we can get to know each other on that personal level, and just have fun together and do life together, and then celebrate their wins and their big things coming up in their life, just to know, so they know that they're important to us.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, you're investing in the people. It sounds like y'all's business is a legacy business where you actually care about the person, not just the dollar.
Yep. And we just did a kayaking trip last weekend. We try to have a birthday. For some reason, our team, there's 10 of us, and there always seems to be like 2 birthdays back to back. So we'll have like a birthday lunch, and, get them their favorite candy or whatever, and just celebrate. Happy birthday, have cake, have lunch, fellowship. And then we're getting ready to have a diaper party for one of our sales reps. He's expecting a little boy coming up here in November. And I don't know, a mentor of mine always said, you never miss a birth, you never miss a death. So like, be there for your team. I do this really good for everybody but my wife, but, encourage them and compliment them for what they're doing well. just like our one sales rep said that he's never had anybody ever, like he's never had a boss say thank you and actually appreciate him. And as I was also sharing with you earlier before we started recording, we were at a diaper party that this young man's family was having last weekend. And I started talking to a potential guy that wants to come and sell for us. And his wife came up and was like, I didn't believe what Chris was saying about you guys. So she started following our Facebook page. And, she's sold to have her husband come and work for us. So that's kind of cool. We try to do the small things right. And, and I want to grow our team because I see the potential, but I also know that we got to grow it slow and steady also. So.
Amen. With that being said, like we're hard charging business men and women. And, sometimes we sometimes we have it backwards. It's supposed to, in my opinion, it's supposed to be God, wife, kids, business. But sometimes we, put business first. So I'm curious, what would you say is one of y'all's best processes in your business that y'all are most proud of? Emily, what do you think it is?
I think just sitting down and getting to know our guys and what makes them tick as far as like, what are they striving for? What are they working for? Because they're not all, we know what our guys like Nick, he's striving to get a better house. Chris, he's got his baby coming up. So he knows that's a goal for him, is providing well for him. Just knowing what they're striving for and what goals they want to meet. That way we can help them achieve it, and we know what's going on in their personal life as far as where they want to go and what kind of growth they want to see. So I think that really helps us stand apart, so they know we want to help them get to where they want to be.
You care about them. There's a great book called The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. Highly suggest that. Based exactly what you're saying on how to maximize the people who work for you by tapping into their dreams. So thanks for sharing. Bob, what would you say is your best process that you're most proud of?
I know we keep going back to Dave Ramsey, but we're part of his mastermind, or not mastermind, but his elite program through Entree Leadership. And weekly there's an email sent out, and it's like a weekly report. And it's just like they
just fill out what was your highlight.
Yeah, a high
level.
A stress level, a low of the week, all that kind of stuff. So in a glance, they can share in private, like, I'm struggling with this. Like, we're a small enough team that we know when somebody's, when stuff's going wrong, and we know our team on a fairly personal level. Like most of our team we've known for a good while. So, we know their kids, and, we know what grade they're in. Like our one sales rep, Mark, he's got a daughter that's in college and his son's in high school, so it is, we know about his wife. We've been friends with him for several years. So, yeah.
That's incredible, man. People, unfortunately, they love the money instead of loving the people. But it sounds like you guys truly are servant leaders where you love the people and you use the money to invest in them. Can you go over that a little bit more on that email letter? Because I always try to I'm an owner myself. What does it have? It has a high of the week, a low of the week, a stress of the week. What else does it have?
It was how was your workload / stress, a win/high of the week, and then a low of the week, and then you can elaborate. Like you're supposed to, it's like a green smiley face, then yellow, then red, and then you can also put in like comments in there and kind of elaborate, and that just helps me. Like I read them and then I can respond to them and be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, or keep up the great, just whatever it entails is what, as far as what they put.
You send that to your salesman, your team? You send that to your team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's brilliant. You're actually like high-end management of emotions through a weekly email.
And a lot of times,
could you share that with me, Bob?
Yes, I can. Yep.
They're going to be more apt to share on that than they are as far as
person to person.
Yes, it's easier to like type it than them come in and like spill their guts. Yeah.
Especially like ideally, I would like to have a sit down for 30 minutes every week with a one-on-one, but our sales team are always out and about. Like they're not really making any money if they're in at the office. And then also we've got a marketing girl that she's out building relationships. So once again, she's not in the office a ton. It's a nice way to do that, you know? So
that is really smart. You're the second contractor that I've heard say that you have a marketing person designated on salary out shaking hands. Can you elaborate on just that?
So what we've kind of done is the Matt Danskins program, the restoration referral system. And we just have a young lady that she literally goes out, and we've got insurance agents like our local community, then the surrounding communities that, you know, she builds relationships with to get referrals from when, you know, somebody calls in like looking for a contractor. And sometimes we got to go out there and like clean up a mess of another contractor. And sometimes they haven't even picked a contractor. So yeah, we just been, she's been with us about a year and a half. And it was a little slow going at the beginning of getting stuff rolling, but it's been nice. This year has been a slow storm season for the Indianapolis market, but there's still people that have problems. And it's a lot of our leads this year have come from her of just building them relationships. So
let's go a little further with that. So you found this person and you offered her a salary, and she has to every week accomplish some type of key performance indicator. Could you elaborate what that key performance indicator is for you to be like, cool, she's doing her job and it's worth the X dollars?
Well, and I'll admit that we didn't give her much structure at the beginning, but we're starting to give her some. Right now, we went over in the last couple of weeks with her. Like our goal is to manage 160 relationships with insurance agents, and that was to me that was 40 a week, and hit them once a month, because like she don't need to be in there every day. She don't need to be in their insurance office every week. But that's just kind of how we drew everything out.
I like that. You know, one of the things I've learned in masterminds as well is this thing called the SOG methodology, where y'all learn in the other mastermind you're part of, EOS, similar, where
Okay.
you have the CEO up top, or the CFO, and then you have service. You have a manager in charge of the service department. You have operations, a leader in charge of all operations, billings, collecting, some calling customers, and that person has people under her. And then you have growth, SOG, service operations growth. Somebody in charge of the growth department, like a recruiting manager through Indeed, through Facebook ads. And that's one of the things that I do. I host these retreats out here in Costa Rica. I bring contractors together. We have a blast surfing. It's tons of fun. And we dive deep into that. I'm curious, where is the hole? Because your business is doing great. Sounds like the people are amazing, but only you know, where is the hole that needs to be filled within your business?
We've got to quit doing so much of it. Our biggest quality, but the worst thing about us is we literally just loaded OSB right before we came in here. Like we had to redeck a roof today. We were out there, like we're both throwing OSB in the back of the truck for the guy to run it out there. So we're willing to roll our sleeves up and do absolutely anything they need to get it done, which I think is important because our team knows that we'll work our tails off. But she's got to get, she wants more time with the kids. I mean, it's drop the kids off, go pick them up, bring them back to the office. So we're kind of working on some work-life balance per se with that. So that right now is in the operations of we're in the process of hiring like a full-time runner / light quality control person, just because we're doing a lot of that right now. And that's kind of that's where we're at. That's our weakest point.
Man,
Yeah.
you know, it sounds like Emily's such an asset to your business with production. And I had the same problem, but I had to find somebody who was an ex roofer who's like sick and tired of roofing. He still can sell, but I found that person and I quizzed him. I made him put together material orders. I made him call subs. I gave them a script of what to say to the subs. You know, I made them send the subcontractor agreement before they do the job. And if a person can do it 80% as good as we can do it, because it sounds like Emily's the rock star in that department, because that was the key for my business is I had to find that person, and now I don't have to do that. And for my wife, she was in the roles, you know, rolling up her sleeves, doing the financials, but now she doesn't have to. So what would you say? It sounds like it's a person. You have people, processes, and products in a business. And it sounds like we're just looking for the right person to fill that role. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm curious, let's change it up a little bit. What's an expensive lesson you guys learned in your business that was like, oh, so painful, like it's hard to even bring it up?
We bought out a guy and we were going to have him run the remodeling division of it. So we bought him out as far as like his tools and stuff, and then that kind of
Absolutely.
downhill like super quick. So it was.
He's
Absolutely.
like, I got all this money. Let's go.
Absolutely nothing was in
Yeah.
writing. And he promised me 2 years. It's my fault. Like the writing was on the wall. Like he couldn't bid jobs and make his business profitable. Why I ever thought working for me, he could.
Hey, you got some tools out of it.
Yeah. Well, but then he ended up coming.
Emily's shaking her head like, oh my God.
Well, the problem was he came back and took about half or a third of them back and went back into construction practically instantly, like within 4 months. So, however, I always look at the bright side, and two of
You
our
helped a brother out.
Yeah.
Lord bless you.
We got 2 of our team members out of that, and they're still with us. And then, the one has brought in another person, which is going to bring in another person. So you couldn't put a price tag on them guys, but yeah, that's the one that it's like, I don't beat myself up about it because I know we're better people for that.
Yeah.
But I knew all the asset tests to test against it, and I went right past it. You know what I mean? And it
felt good.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I got a couple buddies. My one buddy's like, you shouldn't have done that, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, I wanted to say something. I was like, man, we're close enough. You should have. But like I said, that's the one. That's the one.
We all have them. Sometimes we live, and sometimes sometimes we lose, and sometimes we learn. And I've had those expensive lessons as well, man. All good. So what's an investment you guys have made that surprised y'all?
I guess maybe the office building that we're sitting in. We just got it bought in January, was it? And I was surprised the amount of people that stopped in looking for estimates. Everything's technology and everybody wants to call or text or email, but the amount of people that stop in kind of floor me, to be honest. I guess that's probably the best one.
That's so smart, Bob, Emily, because so many people throw money at rent, but if you're going to spend the money and you have decent credit, you might as well buy the asset, outgrow it, keep that asset, and then let somebody else pay you monthly. Right. And then go get a bigger asset.
And I got to do a shameless plug for Dave Ramsey. We cash flowed it. We wrote a check for the building, which is really nice. Just it's ours, But I think that we already believed in investing in our people, taking them to conference. Like we took our entire team to RoofCon last year. We're taking them back this year. So that's an investment that some people would think that they would be surprised with the return on investment there. But our minds kind of go that way anyway. So that's an investment that I think is paid. Our team's talking about, they're excited. But yeah, I would say our building would probably be the best investment. And I'm hoping this runner position that we're looking to hire is the best investment for our marriage to take some off of her plate.
With 3 kids, I got 2 little ones. My wife's, we're talking about a third. It's a lot of work to try to balance all that, and school and nanny or whatever, and work. So I wish you the best on that for sure, man. So I am curious about we have contractors listening. We have roofing contractors, owners, home builders, government contractors. What would you say is your best success secret that has helped your business grow?
For us, one thing is Google reviews. We're at like 108 in our small market. Like I think
Wow.
the next closest is like 11 or 12.
That's impressive. 108.
So-
How do you extrapolate that? How do you get those?
Just freaking ask. And a lot of people tell you they'll do it, then they won't. But it's kind of like sales. You ask enough people, you eventually make enough sales, and it's good for our sales reps, especially our newer, greener ones. Like they hear me talk about it all the time, but then when they go out to a lead and they're like, oh my gosh, you had 68 5-star reviews, like I'm using you, like then it's easier for them to ask for 5-star reviews because they know how much that helps. Another thing, did you come up with anything?
It's no secret, just taking care of your customers, calling them back, showing up on time and doing what you tell them you're going to do. It's really not a secret. Everybody should be doing it, but a lot of people don't. So that comes to our advantage. So,
and I tell our sales teams, focus on your current homeowners. Like they're going to give you the best warm leads. Like I know in sales, you're always looking for that next sale. I get that, but we get a ton of referral business. It's funny. We always seem to get 1 or 2 leads that we end up doing the referral before we do their job because insurance is holding up or the mortgage company's on the check or something like that. But yeah, we had a tornado go through just west of us, and there was 5 structures damaged, and we ended up getting contracts on all 5 of them. And 3 of the houses there was 4 of the houses right together, and we had 3 of them that night. Like we had a personal connection, or we had done work for them before. And then the neighbor called us the next day. They're like, well, everybody else is going with you, so come on out here, guys. So that's just a testament of taking care of our customers. Because the one guy was I'd fixed his ridge shingles 2 or 3 times. We went to church together, and that turned into a really nice size claim when we're gonna put siding on the house and bond, roof and siding, gutters on everything. So literally that came out of $30 worth of hip and ridge shingles over a couple of years. Like you can't buy leads for that. So
talking about common practice, Emily, not everybody does the common thing. So it's okay that you shared that simple, but it's powerful. To not so many people are just always on to the next. But if you take care of what you have, that's when you get more abundance. That's when God gives you more. If you really harness what you're given. I really like that. How are you combating insurance restoration for the money taken forever, for it getting tied up in the mortgage process? What is your process? How to get the cash flow in faster?
Just try to stay on top of it the best we can. We've got an office girl here that helps us a lot. So yeah, and fortunately, we've always done a fair amount of retail, which has always been nice just because that really helps the cash flow. And we're still in that hustle and scale and grind mode. So we don't take a massive, check every week. Like we invest a ton back into the business so we continue to grow it. So that also helps. Just that helps a lot too.
That's smart. So many contractors, they get the money and then they buy the shiny thing. But instead of, it sounds like you guys are a wholesome, down to earth couple that really cares, puts the money back into the business. And, if you're following Dave Ramsey, you're following Hunter, that speaks a lot about your integrity, and speaks a lot about like the vision of legacy that you're trying to build. Now, before we go, what would you say is something that you believe every contractor who's trying to get to the next level should implement?
I struggle with this one, but I think time management of like where you're putting your most effort and where you're spending your time. That way, you can get stuff checked off and move on to the next task, and you're not just spinning your wheels and not getting anything accomplished. So
Time management, that's crucial. Automation.
this isn't real popular, but making the right hire, slowing the hiring process down, and just, and I've made plenty of bad hires in our short time of running the business, that I knew was not going to work, and I still did it, so we don't have that figured out, but it seems to be like when we slow the process down, and then also invest some time in them when they first get in, and like communicate, make sure like, we do a good job up front of what expectations are, but once the ball gets rolling, and once again, we've done, I probably do a better job explaining it than I do doing it sometimes. And I just feel like the storm restoration stuff, it's just like hire as many people as you can and hope a couple of them stick around. And I don't want that. And another thing is like, we've never made a good hire that we've regretted. Like you always struggle like, oh, can I cover that salary? Like, we gotta be going into winter or whatever. But the quality hires that we've made, have just relieved us of so much. Like it's always fun for me when like I see a check come in or a job that we've done that I know the people and I didn't even know we had to leave. And here we've already put the roof on, and I was like, yes, like, or we drive by a house and I'm like, hey, I know who lives there. That's our sign, like, and the roof's being done that day, or and that's always fun for me because like I want to always work in the business, but I also want to work on the business. And I want to make sure that there's a fine line there. Some people just want to turn it over too quickly, in my opinion, and then a lot of people will not turn it over at all. And that's a struggle too. We both struggle with that of like taking the time to teach somebody. And
that's been a big thing. That's been a big thing that I learned from joining masterminds in the roofing space, is creating like your training to where right when they get plugged in, they have to go through that so they know everything you want them to know, right? And that's interesting. You said hiring slow, not being so fast to just like hire everybody. Do you guys, is it commission only, or is there some type of base? Like what do y'all do for somebody who's listening, who's like, you know what, I like these guys, they got a good heart. How does it work for a salesperson who's curious about working with you guys?
All our sales are all commission based.
Cool. Yeah. That's how mine is as well. All good. So one thing that we do is we also pay $100 to $200 for every time they get a signed contingency with a claim number. And that's just a draw on their commission. And by doing so, they have money like every single week. But the thing is, you have to have your office lady call that lead and verify that is the homeowner and that they did file the claim. And I have noticed, because I was having a hard time through retention, once I implemented that, I had more people coming through, getting their little $500 a week. And then the closer, would be on those leads to make sure they get to the finish line, or one of your best salespeople, right?
Yep.
And once I did that, it helped alleviate people coming and going so fast. So maybe that'll help. Guys, this has been so much fun. Bob, Emily with Hoel Roofing in Indiana. If somebody's listening here and they can tell you guys have a good heart and they want to learn more about what you guys do, or there's a big storm that hits, how can they reach out to you?
Facebook is probably going to be the easiest. Bob, and then our last name, Hoel. You can find our Facebook page, Hoel Roofing and Remodeling, or my cell phone number is 765-561-2054. There's a lot better chance I'm going to respond than Emily. So if she doesn't know a number, she's not going to answer it. So
it's like, ignore, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Emily, all good. Hey guys, this has been so much fun. Thanks for hopping on Real Construction Owners podcast today.
Thank you, sir. Have a
Thank
good day.
you.